This episode of American Idol Unaired will begin in just a moment, but really quickly, it was recorded prior to the passing of season 19 runner-up Willie Spence, and I just want to send my condolences to Willie's family, his friends, everybody that loved him, and I've just been seeing so many posts on social media from other contestants from season 19, the judges, Ryan, the crew, everybody that knew Willie just loved him, and so I know it's a really difficult time right now. I'm thinking of all of you. If you are listening and you knew him, if you're a fan of him like me, Willie was personally one of my favorite contestants across all of the seasons of American Idol. He was my pick to win season 19. So it was incredibly sad to hear about his passing. And once again, if you knew him, I'm thinking of you. And I hope you enjoyed this episode of American Idol Unaired. Hey everybody, welcome to American Idol Unaired. I'm your host, Bennett Shear, back with another singer that you didn't see, another one from season 18. Please welcome Eddie Erwin.
How's it going, guys?
Great to meet you, Eddie. How you doing?
I'm good, man. Just been busy gigging lately, playing a lot of music still, and heard about your podcast, and I had to come on.
Such an honor. Really thrilled to meet you, really thrilled to get to know you. I am really curious, even before we get into American Idol, just to know about where that love of music stemmed from, how old you were, and what got you into it.
I would say, it's been my whole life. My parents, I would give most of the credit to for like good music. I always grew up around good music. My older sister always had good music on. But I think the movie School of Rock was like the one that I like saw that movie and was like, I need to get a guitar. That was like what really sparked it. I pretty much listened to like 70s rock only at that point. I thought everything newer than like 1985 was like too new. I was too cool for it. I had long hair, and I think I was like 11 years old when School of Rock came out, and I saw that movie, and like me and my best friend, his name's Ian, we had to get guitars and we had to just turn up to 10 and like try to rock. That was kind of like my startings in music. But yeah, I think I was like slowly becoming more, I guess, emotionally attached to music, but like seeing it, like visually seeing kids my age playing was like really cool. I think that might have been what sparked it, but who knows? Like, yeah, I guess I never really thought if I never saw it, would I be into it? I think I'd still be into it. I was like discovering the Who at that point, and that was another huge. That was a big band for me at the time, at 11 or 12 or something like that. But I luckily like got into a band of like literally the drummer and the guitar player were unknown but prodigies basically. So like the drummer was incredible after a year. The guitarist was incredible after a year. I was still playing power chords and like slowly getting there. Wasn't singing yet. I didn't sing until I was like 15, I want to say. But it really all started on guitar. That's kind of like my roots and everything.
We always find our passion at some point. You know, everything happens for a reason. So if we're meant to do something in life, whether it's a movie or it is a band, I feel like at one point or another, you could always say, oh, well, it was this movie or that band. But we're all going to figure it out at one point or another. And it's never too late. You know, I feel like a lot of people think that it's something that you figure out when you're really young. And I guess in your case it was. But you never know. People start music at all stages in life and any passion, really. I heard a story yesterday about a guy who became a doctor at 51, owned like a car insurance company, or I don't know what it is, something like that. And it's just amazing to think about even people who have completely different life paths. But, you know, at the end of the day, I really think that we're all kind of put on this earth to do something, and that whenever we're meant to find out what that is, you know, we're able to go for it.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I was one of the older, I think I was one of the older contestants. So like, yeah, it was, I could elaborate on that, but like, there were a lot of young people around. Like I'm 29 now. I can't even remember. Am I 28 or 29? I think 29. Yeah, we'll go with that. But yeah, it was like 27 at the time of the show. I think the cutoff was 28. But like, I think at the time it might have been hard to like realize that like I felt like I was on my like last leg. Like I'm tomorrow I'm going in the ground. I'm so old, you know, like there comes a point where you have to realize you're not that old, and like you can do what you want to do at any point in your life.
Why did you want to go on? I mean, what was the reason for doing Idol?
I may have to backtrack a little bit, but I guess before going on Idol, I was in the military for 5 years, and basically when I got out, I was very like, I was in a mindset of like, who am I, kind of, for a long time, probably like 3 years. And like at the end of that third year, before I like kind of figured it out, I got a text from a talent scout who was like, "Hey, I want you to try out for American Idol." And I was like, that's spam. So I'm gonna just go next, you know? And they messaged me back, like they messaged me again an hour later, I guess fixing like a spelling error. So I was like, oh, that's a real person. So I replied, and I was like, I had no idea how the process worked at all. And I just was curious. So I asked some questions. They told me where to go and what to do. But like, to be like completely honest, I never was someone who was like, I want to be on that show. And that was never like what I wanted to do with music. I more saw it as like, this is an opportunity. You have to take it. Like if you said no, you'd be crazy. That was kind of like where my head was at the time. And like I said, I really wasn't in like my best headspace of my life. So that kind of, I think, would explain why maybe I'm a little negative on the show, but I definitely don't regret doing it for sure. I think it was a huge learning experience for me.
Well, first of all, the fact that somebody texted you back, I'm curious, do you think that if they hadn't, you would have ignored it, or you would have still opened it and replied?
I probably would not have replied, like thinking it was spam. I thought it was spam, like, cause I like, just if you hashtag your videos on Instagram with music or acoustic, you get 50 bots that comment on it. The second it's posted, I mean, I'm sure you've seen the bots too, but it's just like, maybe it's like a cynical mindset of like, oh, there's no way, you know, but no, they sent a second message, and I was like, okay, here's my info and I'll do it. I think at the time of joining, I was so like, just to play on talk about the same mindset that I was talking about earlier, like I had no self-belief, and like the fact that I was even like, it was like imposter syndrome kind of thing. Like I had no thoughts of getting through any of the rounds that I did. I had no idea that any of it was real until I like was there, and then had to think about it for the next like couple hours. And I'm like, oh wait, I really just did this.
What do you think that producer saw in you? Because I know that there's a lot of people, and what do you think stood out about you, Eddie Erwin?
Honestly, I think that the main thing that I tend to value in music is like sincerity. I mean, it's hard to tell, like, just through listening, but like for me, I feel like I can tell when someone means it, or if they're more showing off. So in a sense, like showing off it sounds like such a negative. Like it's not a bad thing to have a serious talent and use it. Like, because I would love to be able to sing like some of the contestants. Like, it's no shot towards them, but like that's basically my thoughts on it. I think I just circled around, and I'm forgetting the question again. This is what I do, man. So I apologize if I'm
No,
what was
just what stands out about you? Why do you think that they looked at you and said, wow, this guy should be on our show?
Yeah, I was avoiding giving myself a compliment there. I think I'm just authentic, you know?
Yeah.
And I mean what I sing, and I think it's like readable and relatable. So, I mean, it's tough to go on a show for someone with that kind of mindset, where you need to be a little less humble, a little more look at me, you know, and I wasn't ready for that at the time, for sure.
I almost wonder if the bigger challenge is less about sort of the attitude and more about what it would mean if you were to make it in the music industry under the Idol belt, whether it's conforming to a label or maybe not always getting to write your own songs. I almost look at those
Yeah.
challenges for someone like you.
I didn't really see myself winning American Idol. So the way I looked at that opportunity was like, I'm trying to get my name out there because there's other ways and avenues to get me to where I want to be. You know what I mean?
It's become a lot more of a platform and less of that competition show. I mean, it used to be that it was on so long that they get down to like a top 10 or whatever, and then every week it's just one person goes and you're so focused on these 10 people alone. But now that they spend a lot more time kind of on the auditions and the process of finding the people, I feel like as many people that they don't air, there is a lot more of a chance for there to be exposure. And even for you guys just being behind the scenes and filming, you may not have gotten aired, but you're meeting so many more people because they're finding these genuine artists who are more of musicians and less of TV show contestants who they want to find and put on for 3 months. Because I don't know, there's just something about the show now compared to how it was maybe 10, 15 years ago that I think is a lot more about artists meeting artists and that kind of opportunity.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, it's like, it's been a TV show forever. And the way they went about doing that show, I think just molded with like society. It's been around for, I don't know how long, 20 seasons now?
years,
Like,
yeah.
back in the day, I say it like that, but like back in the day, man, it was like a show. People would watch it because someone was getting made fun of for being so bad, and then I think that like fell off because I don't think that would fly today for like, maybe, I don't know. But everybody remembers like William Hung. It was more laughing at William Hung, which is kind of like, it's sad, but it's like the direction of the show is so different. I mean, you had Simon Cowell back then. Now you have Katy Perry.
Well, now I'm getting more interested to get to your experience and your perspective as a contestant. So I want to get to these auditions and find out what city that you got sent to.
If we're talking like which round, because I started in Pittsburgh for like just the producers.
Now I'm wondering because it gets all mixed up because we have the post-COVID contestants who do everything virtually, and then they meet the judges. And I think if I remember when I had Jeb on from season 18, do they not do the producer auditions in the same city that you go and meet the judges in, or is it in separate places?
So I did. I got the text or the Instagram DM, and then they told me to go to the Pittsburgh Convention Center for producers. No cameras, I just auditioned for producers, got through. I met a few contestants there. I don't know if you remember Zach. I can't remember his last name. He was like from West Virginia, wore boots and goggles, and had a great voice, but just he got I think he got through around of Hollywood Week, but I'm not really sure. It's Zach Dobbins, that's the name, if you remember it. Anyways, met a bunch of contestants there. Then they basically told me that your next one's going to be in Burbank, California.
Okay.
And that was on, I had to pay for that flight. It was still no cameras. It was at the ABC headquarters, I think, in Burbank. If I'm remembering that right. So there was like twice the amount of contestants, and everybody had got through like preliminaries, I think. And then it was executive producers. So I auditioned there. Then they told me I'm going to Sun River, Oregon. Now I remember it. Sun River, Oregon was my like televised audition. But this was like over a period of months, maybe three months, I want to say, of this like searching phase. And I had met people along the way that did one of those or did none of those. And they're at the Oregon one for the first time, So I was kind of confused by it.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've heard all kinds of stories. Jeb went to the convention center, met the producers, and went to the judges all in the same day. So I think it just varies somehow for everyone.
Yeah, I guess they're trying to fill the spots. Maybe they got me early and like I just did the whole process.
Going from that very first DM to knowing that you were possibly going to be on TV and getting to Sun River, what were your thoughts going into it? Because it's like getting pretty real now that you're actually having the cameras around you.
It's weird to talk about American Idol nowadays because I really am in a better headspace, but like I have to keep reminding you and whoever's watching that like where I was at the time is like not the same as how I am now, I guess. But or who I was like when I was a kid and the kid who had a guitar at 11, you know what I mean? Like I loved this stage. I loved all that kind of stuff. I was in the musicals in high school and then went to the military and I think that's like when I kind of became a little less um, excited about attention. You know what I mean? Because that's kind of what you're taught in that setting. So when I got to Sun River, like I'm cool with being social, but like when the cameras were on me, like I couldn't be myself. It was so hard for me to like act like myself. Or like when I'm just like sitting there like anxious and they're telling me to like woo and dance, I was like, this is I like had no idea how to handle that. But I mean, everyone else probably was fearing it a little bit too. But and maybe it doesn't show as much as you feel it inside. But like I felt like I couldn't really be myself. I think I'm a pretty goofy dude, man. Like I'm I'm forgetful. You know, I guess that's goofy. I guess that's like irresponsible, but who knows what you want to call it. But like with me and my friends and my bandmates and like everybody that I hang out with, like it's a different Eddie than what American Idol got. So like I guess fearful would be like the best way I could describe uh fearful of like saying something wrong on camera. That was like all I thought about from like the moment I got there to the moment I left. You know what I mean? Or like not coming like because that's always like I said earlier, that's like really what I want to be as an artist. It's just like true to myself and like God, it was tough. It was tough to do that there.
It sounds like there was a high awareness at all times of just everything going on around you in terms of, not just the
Yeah.
cameras, but the fact that this was something where people were watching and it was easier to, it wasn't as easy to just kind of let loose. And when you're performing on stage and it's not being filmed and you're just doing what you love on a regular basis, you know that you're doing it because it's your thing and people are there to support you. But something about being in that TV headspace, you kind of lose yourself.
Nail on the head, dude. Yeah. And again, like I think I could handle it a lot better like nowadays if I went back. I mean, I'm 29, so they won't take me, but it's cool. Maybe America's Got Talent. I don't know.
How do you think that you would approach it going if you were to go back on another similar show? Because you said that you think that it would be maybe a little bit easier if you were to do another show like this now.
Yeah, I have a lot more like belief in my own ability nowadays. Like I think I was just so timid then. Like when I sang on the show, man, I heard the voice I heard wasn't my voice. Like it was a weird, like almost like just suppressed. Like my stomach was in knots. So I just wouldn't be as afraid. That would be like overall the vibe of going today. I would not I wouldn't fear it because there was really nothing to be afraid of. Like I was scared of myself at the time, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, there's the actual audition, and then I talked to everybody about the sort of preliminary to actually meeting the judges, whether it's filming the interviews and having to socialize, but they're filming that too, so some of it probably doesn't feel very authentic either. What was that like?
I honestly like that was my favorite part of the entire experience. It was like sitting with all the other contestants and just talking like, oh, like I mean, especially I guess the guitarists, it was a little easier to like, oh, what are you playing? And then we just talk about guitars, and then that would go into who do you like, who are your influences and all that kind of thing. And I mean, we would just like jam too. Like I was all about like just like playing on the spot with other people. Um, and that I mean, yeah, that was the best part of the show. Most of the time felt very authentic types of conversation, but like then the cameras would come out and they'd be like, we want you guys to talk about this. And I wasn't able to like act, you know what I mean? I couldn't act. So it was a strange thing. My parents were with me in Oregon as well. And I think like today I wouldn't have minded, but then I was kind of like, oh, I look lame for being 27 and my parents are with me. But like, why is that lame? There's nothing lame about that. My parents are awesome.
And having a support system is something that you're lucky to have. Anyone is lucky to have, regardless of their age.
Definitely, man. Again, the way I looked at myself, that would be the number one. I know this isn't like a mental health podcast, but you got me today, so it might be a little bit with that kind of thing. But
I literally have another podcast that is a mental health podcast, so I enjoy these conversations. I'm here for it.
Cool. Yeah, that was it, man. You could name any situation then, and I was just so negative. And I don't want to regret anything about the experience, but like, just wish I could have lightened up. But honestly, I couldn't have because I didn't know how at the time. So
I can think of a couple people who have probably shared slightly similar experiences as yours. You weren't alone in that. I mean, across all of the seasons, not just your season. I mean, you don't even know how many people when you were there were feeling the exact same thing or going through something similar, just not being happy. But like all of the people who go on that show, you just never know what's going on in their lives. And I feel like that might be one thing that you consider is just the fact that any regrets you might have, there's probably a lot of other people that are feeling the exact same way because they were going through it too.
100%, man. I think you're right on that.
Were you somebody who kind of tried to hide those feelings from the other people? Because as you said, the people you met, it's probably the best part of the experience, but did they kind of see that part of you, or were you trying to sort of be a happier person for those people?
I was putting on the everything's okay mask, you know. If anything, I found comfort in like comforting other contestants who were nervous. Do you know what I mean? I was more like I was a social butterfly on that show. It was yeah, I think that's just kind of how I am in general. I don't like to see other people get anxious and upset. Like it's easier for me to like help them was easier for me to help them than help myself. But yeah, that was definitely what I was like. Then I walked around and talked to everybody, man. But until the like directors were like quiet down, and then like my military mode kicked in, and I was like, wouldn't say a word, you know.
It's an escape to be able to help other people, and in some ways it feels like a beautiful escape because you're enjoying people's company. And then it's hard. I mean, I know what that feels like to sort of not want to fix yourself, and so you try to help other people, even if their thing is just feeling nervous about a performance. You kind of take everything as almost like an extreme, like, oh my God, I need to help them. I need to make them feel better because you don't want to make yourself feel better.
Yeah, you like, it's like, I don't want to relate it too much to the military, but like there's a term that we use, it's called like, that we would say called embrace the suck. Like if you're all in a situation that's like bad, you have like, the people around you are the only people who you have. So you have to like embrace it together. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So that was kind of like, I mean, I think I've carried that on my whole life. That's kind of like, you don't want to sit there and complain about the situation you're in because it just spreads. Like everyone will start complaining. Like I think it's important to like stay positive for the group and for yourself. You should do that for yourself.
There is a big part of you who is that way genuinely. And it's not about being fake in that sense. You know, you're not pretending to be social. That's a characteristic that you possess. It's just maybe the happiness is something that's missing a little bit.
Yeah, I think I was also like viewing some contestants that were probably just confident as cocky. And there might have been some cocky contestants, like, but I just preferred more people that were low key, I guess. But at the same time, I pretty much got along with everybody I met there. So either would have been a friend of mine, honestly. Like I was cool with everyone there.
Any names stick out from the audition? People that you met, people that you stayed in touch with?
I would say Adam Curry. Dude was incredible. Such a good guitar player, such a good singer, and just like was very authentic. Mike Taco was really good. Uh, who else am I thinking of? Gabby Turner. She was really awesome. Jeb was cool. Uh, Taylor, and I'm leaving out one that was like so cool, but forget it.
It might come to you when we're like middle of some random other conversation. You'll be like, I remember the name.
Yeah, I'll try to interject.
What is going through your mind when you finally get called to the judges' room?
Oh man, that was it. Oh man, I think I was there for 16 or 17 hours. I was like the second to last guy to go, and they didn't bring us food. Now I'm complaining. They didn't bring us food, just waters, like, and we couldn't leave. And like my confidence at the beginning of the day, I was playing my songs around like the hotel that I was staying in, or they had like rooms on campus of this Sun River property. And I was feeling good, singing good. Everything was good. And then like as the no food and the hours ticked by, I slowly was like getting less confident. And I think I remember before I went in, my dad like bumped into my guitar accidentally. And the song that I was going to play is in a really weird tuning. And like, I was just like, now this is no blame on him. Like it was totally an accident, but like, as that happened, they're calling me, you need to go in. So my guitar's like out of tune as I walk in. Okay. I used to do theater in high school. So like, I know about the mark. It's an X on the stage or a T or wherever you're supposed to stand. And I remember the director talking about, don't miss your mark. Whatever you do, don't miss your mark. And I kind of like in my head, I'm like rolling my eyes, like I won't miss the mark. I missed the mark. I went in the room and I got like, I don't know, 15 feet from the judges table. I couldn't see it on the ground. I was looking for the mark, couldn't see it. I got like 15 feet away, and then all three of them started laughing. Dude, the amount of cameras that are in that room and lights, like, and just other people that you never see on TV. It's like an entire production crew is sitting right there. So like, I didn't expect that. Lights were so bright. I was like so tired, so hungry. And I know my guitar's out of tune. I just missed my mark. The judges just laughed at me. The whole room to the left laughed at me. And like that, I was not ready to take a joke at the time. I was like, oh my God, it's over. I was like, in my head, I was like, it's done. This is where your American Idol journey ends, because you were overconfident and couldn't find the mark, or your eyes are bad or something. But the mark is like in the middle of the American Idol logo. And I'm thinking high school sports, like you never step on the logo. It can't possibly be on the American Idol logo. I shouldn't stand on that. So they finally like explained to me, they're like, back up a little bit, buddy. Like the mark's right there. So I got to it. And now the nerves are like through the roof. If they weren't bad before, they're like through the roof. They start talking to me. Do you want me to just go into the whole audition story?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So we start talking back and forth. What's your name? I'm like choking out a word. Like I'm almost like not even able to say my name because of how like embarrassed / nervous I was at the time. Like I'm Eddie Erwin. I'm 27 years old. I'm from Pittsburgh, PA. And they're asking questions. Honestly, half of these I forget because it was just kind of a blur. And then they asked, who are your influences? And I said, John Mayer. And the second I said John Mayer, I kid you not, Katy Perry was like smiling. And then she like brought the smile down to just flat. Was like visibly kind of like not okay with me mentioning the name John Mayer. Me, I'm not like following who they've dated. I don't know any of this stuff. So, I mean, I guess it was not, I wasn't supposed to say that, but that's one of my influences. Like they asked me the question, so I just answered it. Um, so just keep that in the back of your mind. Katy Perry was not happy with that. Then so we do a couple more questions, and then I'm like, can I tune my guitar? And then I just felt like, damn, I couldn't get it. I couldn't get it just right because it got knocked out of tune, and like I couldn't just get it perfect. And I need my guitar to be in perfect tune because it'll just drive me nuts if it's off. I don't have perfect pitch or anything, but like relatively all the notes, it needs to sound good, right?
Yeah.
Especially if I'm auditioning. So that's in the back of my head. I start strumming. I'm like, I can't stop and retune. So I start with an original song. It's called Red and Blue. So I got up to the first chorus and Katy Perry stops me. Like very like, stop. I'm like, okay. She was like, Eddie, I think if your influences are guitar players, you should work on playing guitar a little better while you sing. And I'm like, okay, I'm sorry. Like, and honestly, that's always been my strong suit is like playing and singing together. So, I mean, that was like, not to sound like this, but no one had ever told me that. And I was like, okay, thanks for the input. And then Luke Bryan's face was like, what the hell is she talking about? And he was like, hold on. Eddie, can you go back to the start of that chorus and play from there again? He was like kind of irritated that she interrupted it. Like this was a wild audition, man. If just on body language alone, like I'm up there scared to death. Katy Perry's angry. Luke Bryan's mad at Katy Perry. Like, so I start again. I sing through it again. Like my vocal was not like strong. I was like very tight in the stomach, didn't eat. And I was just anxious, man. That's like bottom line anxiety. That's what it was. And, I finally get to the end of it and Katy Perry starts again. She's like, Eddie, I think you have a good voice. I think you play the guitar a little too hard, a little too loud. It's a no for me. So I'm like, Katy Perry just told me no. And I'm like, that was that quick. Like I've been in here for a minute and a half and I already got my first no. I'm going home. And then Lionel Richie was like, I think you're really cool. I think that song was really cool. And it's definitely a yes for me. I was like, oh my God, like just one more. And it was Luke. So maybe there's a chance here. And then Luke Bryan said, he was asking like, you wrote that song? And then he like complimented the chord changes and stuff and said it was great. He said, you know, maybe could use a little work on the dynamics because I probably was playing too loud to the voice that I couldn't push, you know what I mean? And that might have been like an issue, but like Katy was like, no. So Luke Bryan basically said, you're going through to Hollywood. And like in that moment, I was, oh my God, could not believe. I was like so sure it was over. And it wasn't, man. So it was just relief. And I was like, my whole body just relaxed at once. I wasn't like jumping for joy. I just bowed to them basically. Like they said yes. And I was like, oh my God, I can breathe. And when I got out, I was just so shocked that like I got through. I wasn't like going crazy or anything, but they wanted me to. And I wasn't ready to do that again. The only other thing on that was like, I sat around with my parents for a while and then they held me for another 2 hours or so. And then they wanted me to go back to this like celebration room. And I'm like exhausted, man. I have like nothing left in me. I just had a huge adrenaline rush from getting like the yeses and everything. Like I literally, I'm like feeling numb. I've been playing guitar all day, just working on the song. Like everything's tired. They put on like pumped up music and they're like, dance. And I can't even see these people's faces. There's just like ring LEDs. It's bright in my face. They're like, dance, go crazy. And I was like, yeah.
Oh my
Like,
gosh.
it was so like lacking of like enthusiasm. But at that point I was like, I got the ticket. These cameras can't really kick me off the show right now. So I didn't really go along with it. I kind of just like, it's like, I'm happy. Let's leave it at that. So yeah, it was a crazy day, man. It was a long day. And yeah, it was one of those days that like, I think about all the time. Like it was a weird experience to be in front of all those cameras and everything. Like I have to stop and remember that I did it and like kind of give myself a pat on the back from time to time because I got through and that was a cool thing to do. I don't know anybody that I grew up with that got on American Idol, and I definitely am grateful for it.
When we go back to the beginning of this story, you weren't somebody who ever thought about going on American Idol. If it weren't for that second text, you probably wouldn't have even done it. So now that you made it through your audition, were you suddenly excited about the show, or are you still kind of like in a weird headspace?
I was still like the weird headspace carried on until after the show, but like I definitely was excited. I mean, I was less scared now that I'd seen the cameras and everything. I didn't think I was scared, but man, first round of Hollywood, I was once again like it was tough to do the interviews, to be myself in the interviews. Like I don't think I laughed or smiled in an interview. Like it was strange.
I mean, I wouldn't blame anyone for being scared at Hollywood Week just because it's like, it almost in a way might feel like filming a different show once you get there because it's like 4 times the amount of people. You're in this huge auditorium and I don't know, it requires so much more of you.
It's a little more intimidating too. It's just like, all these people got tickets. Everyone's kind of like sizing each other up at the beginning of Hollywood Week, I would say.
I know you said that you never really like pictured yourself going on the show, but I can't remember if you said this. Had you really watched the show at all much before going on it?
I watched it a lot as a kid, like, but this dates me too, but I've already told you my age, so it really doesn't matter. Clay Aiken and like Ruben Suttard and like
Yes.
William Hung and Kelly Clarkson and like all the first like 8 seasons or 9 seasons I watched like for sure. And then I would say like, man, I really haven't watched like network television in many years. I'm a gamer as well, and I'm also a musician, so I just never have the time to sit down and watch the show that airs at this moment.
Of course, yeah.
I catch up on YouTube a lot. I've watched plenty of people throughout the years.
There was a big story in the year that Clay and Ruben were on the night of the finale. They both got stuck in the elevator before the live show.
Oh, really? So what are they going to do? They have to wait for him.
Well, yeah, they figured it out eventually, but if you ask me, that'd be kind of exciting and interesting what they would have to do in that scenario if they hadn't gotten out in time.
I mean, it was just between them two, right? I mean, that was the finale. And honestly, I can't even remember who won. I think it was Clay.
It was Ruben.
Okay, I was a Ruben fan. I'm gonna have to do my research on like American Idol winners over the years. But like lately, you don't have to win, and pretty much ever you don't have to win. If you get to like the top, you can make a career off it. It depends. Like how far you want to. At that point, if being a professional musician of like that caliber, you got to work. I mean, you got to work at any level, but I'm sure it takes a lot of work to like stay relevant after coming in second in American Idol. You got to come out with your album. You got to do. There's plenty of second place winners that like overshadowed the first place winners. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. No, I mean your season. There's a girl, Lauren Spencer Smith. I don't know if you ever met her or saw her, but she's huge now, and she only made top 20.
Yeah, I think she's from. I want to say she's from Miami. the area that I'm from, like Pittsburgh, but maybe I'm wrong.
I think she's from Canada.
Okay, then yeah, definitely.
I could be wrong. I don't know. I mean, I know she lives there. She lives there.
Well, she's Canadian, eh? All right, that'll work.
Um, the reason I ask about you watching is because, and Jeb and I talked about this, that was, you guys were in the season where they kind of switched things up at Hollywood Week. So don't know how much of the specifics you remember, but like the classic Hollywood Week format was, this wasn't the huge change, but like the first kind of somewhat format tweak was that when you're standing in that line the first round, now they call it the genre challenge. So you have to actually pick a genre, whereas before it was just get in a line, doesn't matter what genre you sing, you sing. And so that was kind of a new challenge. And then they went from groups to duet rounds. So I know that for all you guys filming, a lot of people were surprised by it because they kind of wanted to switch things up and, throw you all for a loop.
I think I remember like just picking a genre, or we were assigned, but I'm pretty sure we picked, if I'm correct. And I just picked like indie / pop. Ended up singing a Maggie Rogers song, which changed to like very last second. If I would have done it again, I would have sang a different song entirely. Of the two that I had choices of, like, I don't know what I was thinking. Like, what are they gonna like too much, rather than like what do I perform the best?
What was the other song that was between?
Bastille, Pompeii.
Oh, okay. It's a little more like kind of, I guess, mainstream top 40.
Yeah, and it really wasn't even, the song was like past its prime at the time. Even I almost thought about like exactly what you just said, like top 40. Like, if I pick this, do they think that I think that this is still top 40? Is this? That was like doing like mind games in my head of like, okay, you have to go with Maggie Rogers. She's hip, she's cool, she's what the people are talking about nowadays. But I don't think that was the best choice I could have made.
What do you think went wrong in the performance?
Oh, dude, I do actually have one other person to blame besides myself. And the guitar tech, man. He wanted to tune the guitar before the capo was put on it. And I was capoing on the 3rd fret. And this is like guitar nerdy stuff. But like when you capo on certain frets, like the intonation of that string is incorrect by a little bit. So like if I'm playing open chords and I have it on the 3rd fret, like you have to tune with the capo on. And I started to tune with the capo on, and the guitar tech guy was like, no, don't ever do that. And I was like, but I'm capoing here. Like I have to for my song. And then he was like, no, give me that. And then he wanted to tune my guitar for me. And I was like, I know how to tune a guitar. I got a little defensive. I was like, I need to tune it this way. And it was kind of like just put into my hands how he wanted it. And then I was put on stage. So once again, I got a tuning problem. And I'm like, I got lights in my face. And the only thing that went wrong in that performance was I didn't perform it how I would today. I just didn't sound so great. I was out of breath. I couldn't catch my breath. Classic anxiety. That Eddie Erwin.
Well, I was good that you answered my question. I was like, it probably wasn't even vocal issues as much as it just was even just the mental health challenges affect the performance.
Yeah, I wasn't ready for it the whole time, man. I think if maybe it had nothing to do with the song, I could have picked the song that I loved. I mean, I sang my original song in the previous tryout, not to the caliber that I wanted to, But
yeah,
and I had thoughts about that because I'm like, if I sang the way I sang in the audition, and I still got through, then that's good because I can improve the second time around, and then it'll look like I improved a ton when really I'm just singing how I normally sing. But and that never came. It just stayed right in the chest, kind of. That's how I would describe like where it felt like I was singing from. Like I couldn't like sing out and be like bold,
See, all the regrets that you may have and that anybody really has when they don't make it on a show or things go wrong is like, think about all the what ifs that you would have had for all this time if you hadn't even done it in the first place.
Oh yeah, man. Like I'm so glad I did it. I try not to regret much, This was I can say I did it, man. I mean, if I hated the show, I wouldn't have my tag still on the wall. I don't know if you could see it, but
Yeah.
my audition tag, like it's it was a cool thing to do. Uh and I still talk to people from the show, like share music and just catch up. It's a good experience that not many people get to have. So you got to be grateful for it.
For sure. Now, I know it's kind of discussing that closure there, but did you end up making it past the genre challenge or?
No, so this was like after. So the first song we sang, I didn't really think of it as, I didn't even realize it was a genre challenge, but like, yeah, because it definitely was, because you're only competing against people in your genre, right?
Right.
So yeah, that makes perfect sense. I remember being on stage when they called us all up, and then they formed two lines, and they're like, front line you're going home, back line you're staying. When it came to mine, man, the amount of, this was like the peak of like, it was like excited nerves. Like I honestly didn't care what they said, yes or no at that point. I just wanted an answer. I had not known for the whole day, and that was killing me. So
yeah,
like backline you're going home, and I was like, it's been a good run. And then I think I like dapped up the dude in front of me. His name was Cameron, I want to say. He was really good. He sang a lot of I think like Christian rock was like his genre, but I just like congratulated the closest person that got through in front of me. And I was like, I was at ease, man. I wasn't like happy to get a no. Of course, like I'm competitive. The other things I do are like I golf. I mean, I play sports with friends and like play competitive video games. Like I'm just competitive. I want to win all the time, but like to get the no, I was like, oh, all right, I'm ready to go home now. We all walk out of the auditorium, and it's like, it was a crazy experience from there, because like from that point on, once you get to know, I don't want to say they treated anybody badly, because like the producers were really professional. Like, don't get me wrong, like no one was like treated badly on the show from what I witnessed, besides like 16 hours of no food. But besides that, so I get out, and then I'm surrounded with cameras, and like the producers like, how do you feel? Like your journey has ended, and it's all over. And I was like, they did not like this answer. I said, like, honestly, I'm relieved that I didn't care if it was yes or no. I just wanted an answer, and I'm okay with it. I was like, I'm content with like the journey that I had. I still am going to play music. And they're like, you're not going to give up on your dreams of playing music? I was like, no. Like I said it almost like a smart ass. Like I was like, why would I do that? I'm going to play guitar as soon as I get home. And then they like, kind of like, the one producer was like, kind of like rolling her eyes at what I said. And then I said, okay, what would you like me to say? Do you want me to like cry or something for you guys? And I was getting defensive. I was really defensive at the time. Again, we're blaming it on my old mental state, but I was defensive, and I was like, do you guys want me to like cry or fall on the ground or get like really upset and say I'll never play music again? They're like, no. We don't want to tell you what to say. I was like, well, can I go now? Basically, like, I was done at that point. That was kind of it. And then, I remember there was like a curtain that you had to walk around for if you got to know, like once you got to know, you were no longer in contact with other contestants who were still in. But like, there was a small little window of all the people waiting in the auditorium that like I stopped at and waved, and like all the people that like I was friends with were like side that I got out, but like like gave me a round of applause as I walked out, which was cool. I was very like touched by that, and like it meant a lot to like get the no, but like still succeed in some aspect. Like I met a lot of good people, and hopefully maybe they remember me.
Did you ever have any encounter with Bobby Bones, the mentor that season?
I didn't speak with him one time. I didn't know how that worked. Like I didn't know if he was supposed to meet certain people. I never saw. All I know is I didn't really come in contact with him. Wonder if that would have been beneficial, because I've heard he's just like such a cool dude.
I think he was a good mentor. Like he definitely is down to earth because he's not. I mean, he does radio and he performs in a comedy band, but he's not a record label executive. So they used to have those kind of mentors where it'd be like the CEO of Interscope, Jimmy Iovine, or Scott Borchetta over at Big Machine. But here's a guy who's a little bit more kind of down to earth, I guess.
Yeah, he seemed really cool. I mean, I've looked into Bobby Bones on the show. I've seen him on the show, but seems like a good guy. But no, I never got to meet him.
So, I mean, I know it's been a while, but tell me about what we've been up to since Idol. And, we've had COVID, which I'm sure, gets in the way of things, but just the past couple of years, what's been going on?
So since Idol, oh man, it's been a few years, 4 years now, almost 3.
Gosh.
To put it shortly, I mean, I feel like I'm my old self again. Like I figured out who I was again, which was really the coolest thing that ever happened to me. I didn't like allow my job to define who I am, or like, you know what I mean? That kind of thing. That was kind of, not to go too crazy on it, but that's basically, that happened shortly after American Idol. And then I got a job with a company called Siemens doing building automation control work, which is something I really didn't like doing. It was supporting my life, but like I just decided, like, I want to say 4 months ago that I had to leave the company and pursue music like full time. So that's what I've been doing since. Just gigging, and it's been pretty good. I mean, I'm really happy that right now I'm just like playing music to support myself, but would be nice to I don't know, maybe get on like a TV show and like make it big. Oh wait, I did that. Didn't make it big, but I'm still hopeful that like my music can reach people and hopefully do something a little bigger with my music someday. But it's building blocks.
Yeah, it is kind of cool. I feel like even with the contestants I've talked to that have been from farther seasons apart, because I started this show when season 20 just finished. That's who most of my interviews are with. But I was talking to somebody yesterday from season 16. So he did it 2017, 2018. That's when he filmed. And he was saying that, like, got off of Idol, still hadn't figured out a way to do music full time. And then as of recently, he had been doing music full time. And like, I feel like for whatever reason, as I'm talking to you guys, you're all sort of in your prime with that, and like have all
Yeah.
kind of are at a point in your lives where you're figuring out how to make music your thing. And obviously life is difficult and paying the bills is difficult, but when you have a passion for it, at a certain point, you just have to figure out how to make it your life. And so I think it's cool that, again, some of these interviews have been with people that have been off the show for a couple of years now, but even more recently, like, it's still been a long time since the show, but like now has been the time when it's like, hey, let's do music all the time because it's what you love.
Especially like after COVID, because like it was a weird moment. So like COVID happened right around the time, like it started almost like days after. I feel like I had my like change of life moment where I woke up and was like, oh my God, just be nicer to yourself, Eddie, for once in your life. And then I realized I could do that. And then I was like, and believe in yourself. So I started playing. I was like booking gigs left and right. And I was like, I'm going to do it now. Like I'm pursuing music. COVID starts. I'm like, damn, that's not good. So I figured out what I could do for a while. And then as it died down, I wasn't playing gigs like at all because, I got stopped in my tracks by COVID, and like everybody did, everybody struggled through that for sure. But so I found this company, Siemens again, and I worked for them for a year and a half, I want to say, or a little over a year. And now I'm like, okay, COVID's over. I've been waiting to do this for so long. Why don't I just go for it? So I just started booking gig after gig, and I'm like, if I put the time and effort into it, it's doable. Like, I was just sick of thinking about doing it while I worked at my job,
Yeah.
so that's where I'm at.
You have that perspective of just, it's like now or never.
Yeah. There's really no time like now. It's all there is. you got right now. I'm a procrastinator. That's like how I've lived for a long time, like waiting on doing it. So got to do it, man.
We're getting to my favorite part, which is when we get to hear the singing, because I don't know, it's like, it's so much fun to have that anticipation of hearing the story, getting to know you, and then it's like, what does your singing voice sound like? So I'm really looking forward to it, and I would love if you could tell us what you're thinking of playing.
I'm going to play the song that I tried out with. It's called Red and Blue. I wrote it when I was, I got the guitar right here, dude. I'm ready to go. And I think it's cool that you do it in this order, just because like you said, like you hear the story of the person, you get to know the person more before they sing some music. I wrote this in England when I was in the Air Force. Was like missing home and like was super sad, and it's called Red and Blue.
When did you write it?
It had to be 2015 or 16. But yeah, good to go whenever.
Yeah, let's do it.
I've been smoking cigarettes, so give me time to catch my breath. I've been seeing changes in the way you smile and the way I've been. Pacify the side effects with homemade booze and makeup sex. But I see better days ahead in a cul-de-sac where the end is dead. Can you hear her whispering? She's singing upbeat to the mandolin string. She's a fire burning under a tempest roar. Can you feel her company when she's pushing you close to the balcony? Yeah, I was scared of being alone. I've seen red and I've seen blue. It was both that led me back to you. I've been seeing change around. Now the color's gone, she's a distant sound. So pacify the side effects and tell me you won't lie again. Tell me you won't lie again. Tell me you won't lie again. Can you hear her whispering? She's singing upbeat to the mandolin string. She's a fire burning under a tempest roar. Can you feel her coming? And she's been causing you and me to turn a good life into tragedy. Yeah, I was so scared of dying alone. Yeah, I was scared of dying alone. Oh, I was scared of dying alone.
I don't know what Katy Perry's talking about. I think you are a fine guitar player.
And thank you.
And I enjoyed the song. And I enjoyed your voice. And I loved watching you get in the zone and kind of get into your own little world there.
Yeah, man, I was in there.
I could tell.
That felt good, you know. I judge myself still to this day, but I'm a little less harsh. I'm okay with that one. It felt good.
What, is that like a regular in your set, or when's the last time that you played Red and Blue?
I pretty much play it at every gig that I do. I mean, it's like a mix of like opening for people or playing like bars or coffee shops or breweries and stuff like that. But like most of the time I'm doing like covers at like gigs. But when I play like sets for like concerts, I'm doing like, that's the only acoustic song I have. Like the rest of it is all like electric full band, which I also like write all the parts for and pretty much record every instrument, but a buddy of mine produces it. And if I could plug my band really quick, the band I'm in, I'm playing bass in a band right now, doing background vocal and bass, and I help with writing at times, but it's like really grungy and like it's like mixes of pop punk and grunge, but like it's called Old Ways. So if I'm not playing with that band and I'm not playing acoustic, I would play to like backing tracks, which is a problem. I need a band, man. I need a band for mine too. So that's currently like my current project. I'm building the band. So
tables are turning. You're the one looking for people. You're the one holding auditions and trying to find people.
Exactly. I think I got a drummer locked in, which is it. I think it'd be cool because he's like the drummer that I started playing guitar with, who's moved back. Like, dude's an animal on the drums, so that's big. I think you got to get a good drummer first and foremost. It's like it's the glue, man. So yeah, I'm pumped for that. It's exciting.
If anybody listening is a instrumentalist, you can even list the ones that you need. If you know of anybody, or if you happen to be and you're in Pittsburgh or in the area, I mean, heck, we can.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I need a guitarist and I just need another guitarist. Honestly, I would love to have 3 guitar players, including myself. Like the way I've written my music is like there's a lot of guitar in there, but it could be comfortably played live with 2. So I think I'm gonna leave it at 2. Cello and a trumpet and no, I'm kidding. I used to play in a folk band with like violin and banjo and stuff, so it's not out of the question, but maybe down the line.
You never know. Different instruments you wouldn't expect can make for some pretty cool sounds.
Definitely. Yeah. I'm down to try any instrument in the band. Like if you want to try out with the triangle, you're welcome. Come on down.
Be that guy.
If you play it just right, you might get a spot, you know.
So maybe, hey, you might just find the best in their field. Somebody's got to be the best in their field at something. If you are the triangle master, I mean,
exactly.
So where can people go to follow you and stay tuned with the shows and music and everything?
You can find me on Facebook or Instagram as Eddie Erwin. I think Facebook it's under Eddie Erwin Music, and that's EE Erwin with an E. So on Spotify, Apple Music, in any streaming software, any streaming program right now. Platform. Let's go with streaming platform. I'm like an old man, dude. I'm like streaming. So your streaming software. Finally, download this off the floppy drive.
You can't forget about iTunes, though. You can download the song for $1.29.
You can buy it on iTunes too. That would be beautiful, if you'd like to. Because I've decided this is my job now, so I should push for that. But
yeah.
I appreciate you doing it for me. Yeah, the EP that I came out with is called Feel. FEEL. If you want to check that out, that'd be awesome.
You know, I'm going to mention this again. We talked about it last time. The brand new American Idol Unaired playlist. It's a Spotify collaborative playlist so that all of our guests can add music of theirs whenever they want. And you guys can check it out so that you can stay tuned with what our guests have been up to. So hit that link in our bio that says American Idol Unaired playlist, and it'll take you to Spotify where you can check out music from, hopefully, Eddie. We'll get some stuff up there from you. And yeah, guys, thank you so much for listening or watching. Make sure that you follow us on Instagram or TikTok at Idol Unaired Podcast. If you're not subscribed already on Apple or Spotify, wherever you may be listening, or YouTube, make sure you hit that subscribe button. You can also rate or leave a review on Apple Podcasts. That'd be amazing. Eddie, thank you, my friend, for being a part of American Idol.
Thank you. Really cool, man. Thank you.